you have to be present to win. And, that's the first message is if you're doing something that's putting your body in a position to fail you early in life, you just won't get to the gravy because we spend our 20s working hard, our 30s capitalizing on that, and our 40s monetizing it. And so after our 40s, that's where we really need to be enjoying life. And my goal is to have folks that are 40 and over have this way to manage their body so they can be there at 80. They can celebrate their 90th birthday. Let's hope 100, 110, and 120 based on how science is going.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
The Health in the Real World podcast is sponsored by...
Are you ready to get back into the gym and shed those pandemic pounds? Fit for Any Battle is your guidebook to which exercises to do, when to do them, and how to prevent injuries. Get your copy at www.fitforanybbattle.com. Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm Chris Janke and I'm joined here today with Richard Bagdonas. Richard was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 45. He set out to design a new fitness regimen to help him fight the battle. And on top of that, he had stage 4 cancer and then COVID pneumonia. I imagine that was probably last year, right, Richard, 2020? Well, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it. I know we're going to get a lot about you and get a lot from the podcast. Can fill us in a little bit about what I missed, what other biography things are in there and how you can help people.
Yeah. And thanks, Chris. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you and your listeners today. My life started as a football player and a wrestler in high school. And that's where I was introduced to weightlifting. After high school, I moved to bodybuilding and weightlifting every day with a workout partner. However, when we get in our 30s and we get in our 40s, our bodies just don't work the same way. A good friend of mine says, if I don't wake up every day with something hurting, something's wrong. And now that I'm 48, I definitely believe him on that. The time that I went back into the gym in my 30s, I developed bicipital tendonitis in both arms. And for those of you that don't know, you can barely lift a cup of coffee or a can of soup with either arm. And so I went to running and I ran every day and I ran about 50 pounds off of my body and changed my body into a runner's body. However, my left knee, my iliotibia band, did not like running. And so I had to give that up. And I just love weightlifting. So I had to figure out a way to go back into the gym and work out with the body that I had when I was 40. So that's where all of this started.
That's awesome. Your story sounds real similar to mine. I've, been involved in sports since I was 5, started lifting weights at 14 and got injured at 14 and a half. And really bad back injury at 14. It was always tight, neck, back, everything. That's always a consideration with the workout. It's like I have to work out hard enough to get the results, but I have to work out smart enough to not jack myself up again.
Yeah. And, what I noticed was the coaches were just pushing massive amounts of weight.
Yes.
and not necessarily working out on form.
Right.
And what you suffered from, and I suffered several injuries over the years from, was just poor form and not an approach that worked with our body. We were trying to squeeze our body into a square peg instead of the round hole.
Exactly. And kind of what you alluded to earlier when you and I were talking about your app, there's form, there's how much weight are you lifting, there's even whether or not you should work out today. A wise football coach would be like, look, you're injured. You're pushing too hard. You're not lifting weights today. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll reassess. So there's all these different considerations that as wise men we can see, but as young boys who just want to lift more weight and want to hit somebody with our football helmets, it's maybe a little bit harder to have that wisdom come through.
Agreed.
So Richard, talk me through your book and your app. I'm really excited to share what those are all about. I know your app is weightlifting. Your book is what's your book called? Fit Fab, right? Fitness.
Fit for any battle.
Fit for any battle. Fit. Okay, cool. Yeah, give us a little background as far as your book, your app, what those are all about, and how you came around to producing those.
Yeah, when I got back into the gym at 40, as I realized my body was just not working the way it was supposed to, I started playing around with different techniques, and I came up with something that was revolutionary compared to what I was taught previously with coaches, workout partners, and trainers. And that is, it's not about lifting a lot of weight. It's about leveraging the muscle to lift weight properly and do so with a focus on hydration, with a focus on recovery and stretching. And so I was originally writing just a Word document for myself to keep notes about what was working for me and what wasn't. At 45, in October of 2018, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma and given about 3 to 5 years to live. I was lucky in the fact that through my healthcare network, I found the doctor in the world who happened to be 2.5 hours away in Houston, Texas. They were he and his team were funded by the federal government under the Cancer Moonshot program to cure this specific cancer. It took him 15 years to put together this clinical trial, and I became patient number 1 in that clinical trial.
Wow.
And I was cured of cancer in 56 calendar days. And that's why, I have long hair, because I never had to give up my hair during my cancer treatment. And so I started writing the book during my cancer treatment. I started month 1 of cancer treatment, so that way I could share this with other people. And in January of 2022, the book launched. And the book is a way to provide people the insights as to what I went through for my health challenges and how this workout actually helped me get through cancer, COVID, trans ischemic attacks, things of that nature. And then I list out all of the exercises to do, how to do them, how to stretch for them, what days to stagger them. And it's basically a Sherpa's guide to working out. And then, as you mentioned, the mobile app, I built the mobile app for myself, knowing that other people would like to use it too. And it has all of the algorithms built into it to tell you when to lift, how much to lift, and when to stop.
Yeah, I think that's again where wisdom comes in. And it's not only like an injury prevention type thing like what we've been talking about, but it's actually to get the right results. I always have to remind people, hey guys, after your weightlifting session, you're actually weaker than you were before you went in. The weights make you weaker. It's your body's adaptation to the weights that actually strengthens you. So an app that would tell you like, hey, you're not ready to lift today. You need a little bit more recovery, because that's when you're building the muscle. I think that would be a very valuable thing. What's the app called?
It's called Fit Fab. So we took Fit for Any Battle, and it's much easier to just say Fit Fab. So the app is Fit Fab.
Okay, cool. So the app is Fit Fab. You're using the acronym, and then the book is Fit for Any Battle. I like that. And it also it sounds like I'm fit and I'm fab.
Yes, it does have that connotation to being fabulous.
I feel like you need to have like some sequins on or something, like fabulous, Fabulous Richard or something on Halloween.
All right. I'm going to add that to my Amazon shopping list.
You got to do it. Awesome. Richard, what do you tell somebody who's like just starting out? Maybe they like I'm thinking one of two scenarios. Either maybe they're not injured, or maybe they don't have any diagnosis, but they're just very out of shape. Maybe that's one type of person. And then maybe there's another person who maybe they did just get some really bad news, like they've been diagnosed with something like a cancer or whatever else. What's kind of like your framework? How do you talk to that person as far as step 1?
Yeah. And let's start with the first person. Whether they have never been to the gym before, or they haven't been to the gym in decades because they've been going through life in general and they just swayed away from the gym. For that person, it's a little scary to go back in the gym because you're trying to figure out like, what do I use at the gym? Do I use free weights? Do I use the ellipticals? Do I use the lever and cable based weights? And so with FitFab, the application takes you in and tells you which machine at the gym to use on which day. And we start everybody at 5 pounds on the machine. And it may sound silly to start with 5 pounds, but what we're really doing is, number one, we're building form. So at 5 pounds, we don't have to worry about pushing the weight as much as it is about using the correct form. And the book talks about the form to use for each workout and each exercise. And then secondly, we are building a habit. So I'm sure you and I have had similar experiences where we went back into the gym after taking some time off. We tried to go back in and lift the weights that we had done, the time before, and we got injured and left. And then we're out of the gym again for weeks. So with FitFab, we focus on staying in the gym every week and building that habit so that as you go back into the gym and the app tells you, you're doing leg press today on leg day, and here's the amount to lift, there's no question about what to do, how much to do, or how long to do it. Because part of FitFab is we've removed the idea of repetitions. It doesn't matter how many repetitions you do. We now do it all based on time. So we're going to be doing lifting for 2 minutes, and we're going to push slowly in the first movement. And then as we return whatever bar or cable or weight down to the original starting position, we're going to use negatives to go slowly as well, because we're building those secondary and tertiary muscle groups.
Absolutely. I love that. I did the same thing probably about, I guess it's been about 8 years ago. I just went to time. And so we just had stopwatches. And I found that was really incredible for a lot of reasons. Probably the biggest reason is that if you say, okay, 10 reps, someone who just wants to get through it is just going to go done. No, that wasn't 10 reps. Even if you counted to 10, that wasn't 10 good reps. So I found that people will be more willing to go slow, like you were just saying, slow on the way up, really feel that tension. 2 minutes, that is awesome. So another thing that's great about that is that if your time under tension is 2 minutes, there's no way you can load up. Like nobody's going to be bench pressing 225 for 2 minutes straight. No way, right? So you're going to lighten the weight, ease the pressure off your joints a little bit, focus more on creating that tension within the muscle and then releasing that tension. I think that's a great idea.
Thanks. And the thing that we do in that 2 minutes is, let's say you're doing a bench press on a cable or lever based machine. We try to get away from free weights because they're free. They can go in any direction. We really like to use weights that are on a path so you can really focus on form. And when we get through one repetition, we take a second and we take a breath. We let our muscle band recuperate. We let our tendons take the pressure off, and then we go right back into it. So you do, one repetition very slow, half a second to take a breath, and we go back into another repetition. And it builds serious strength. Yeah. In fact, the working title of the book was called Old Man Strength.
Yeah, it's funny. My friend and I, when we were in high school, we were lifting weights like crazy and trying to build strength. And we noticed that these old men who are like 35 in our day, that was old. We're like, oh my God, how are those guys so strong? And that's what we called it. We're like, oh, they have old man strength, that tightness. But yeah, it sounds like you're bringing in something that's very necessary for anything health related, whether it's strength training, whether it's breathing practice, whether it's eating, and that's mindfulness. You're almost meditating while you're working out, right? You're incorporating the breath with the movement, with the feeling of it. Okay, how are my muscles feeling, and kind of bringing it all together, right?
Yeah, and meditation is actually a really big part of the FitFab workout, because if our brains are not in sync with our body, we lose up to 30% of our muscle capacity. If you've been having a big argument with a spouse and then you go to the gym, you might take some of that initial energy and use it, and that aggression, and use it to push the weights. But then quickly your body loses all of that connection between the mind and body. And so inside of the Fit for Any Battle book is a meditation to use at the gym while you're working out, to clear your head and really focus on listening for the pain receptors, to tell us if we're injured, because it's okay to have a little bit of pain. We're lifting weights. We should expect a little bit of pain, but we don't want to have injury. And the moment we have injury, we click the button on the app that says, I felt injured, and immediately we stop. The weights get reduced. And the next time we come to the gym, we're lifting a much lighter weight.
Wow, that's very cool. As you were talking, I'm reminded of something that I teach my clients, and I call it maximum breathing, or just max breathing. And that's literally, it can be a one breath meditation. You literally just start inhaling, and you keep inhaling, and you keep inhaling, and you keep inhaling, and you keep inhaling. And you get to the point where you feel like your brain's telling you, all right, you're done. But then you feel in your abdomen, your diaphragm muscle I can still contract this a little bit more. I can bring a little bit more in, not forcing it, but just like very comfortably, just bringing in more. It starts to feel so amazing. You get like this stretch in your rib cage. And then when you release that breath, there's such this feeling of relaxation, and literally you can do it in one breath. It's a very cool technique. And as you were talking, I was just reminded of that.
Yeah. And you're right. Because mindfulness at the gym is so critical.
Yeah.
We need to go to the gym and leave with a clear mind and a body that has been stressed to a point where we can now go into recovery, because recovery is just as important as going to the gym.
Right. 100%. And it is a lot like, you said you played football, right? And I played 1 year of football, played a lot of basketball, baseball. And it sounds like what all the coaches say, right? You're like, get your head in the game, right? Get your head in the game. You can't just show up and go through the motions. You're throwing the baseball, but you're thinking about, what's happening at home or what happened at school today. No, you have to be there. That mindfulness is there in sports and weightlifting and again, in eating. That's a big thing with, preventing a lot of overeating. It's just being mindful of what you're doing at that moment, right?
Absolutely. So all of these techniques have been wrapped together with a story to tell people, and this kind of goes to the second person that you were talking about, the person with a recent diagnosis.
Yeah, let's go to them.
Yeah. Number one, we need to have our body prepared for a future health crisis, which is why we are fit for any battle. And it's really fit for any health battle. And I explain, and I'm very open and transparent with what I went through. Well, if you've been recently diagnosed with an issue, the FitFab workout is great because it uses low weights. We do things slowly. We're not pushing our body and putting it in a chance of getting it hurt. And what those movements do is they activate our lymphatic system, which is our immune system, which helps us because the heart pumps our blood around the body. There is no pump for lymphatic fluid that moves white blood cells around.
Right.
So we have to have movement in order to do that. And that's part of what FitFab does, is it keeps our immune system strong.
Awesome. Yeah. And I love how you said that. I want to reiterate that for everybody listening, is that you said movement. You didn't say workout, which I like. We don't need to work out every day, but we should do some sort of movement. And I do like how you're structuring it in a way where it's like you can do very intense exercise, but you're coming at it, I guess, almost like from a bottom up instead of a top down. It's not like the football coach that says, okay, we need to lift this much weight. And it doesn't really matter how you do it, just do it. Right. It's more like, okay, let's go inside. Let's start here. Let's take a step here. Let's take a step here. And that is a much safer, more like, it's more about longevity, right? You're working out for your 90th birthday, basically.
Yeah. And oftentimes those football coaches will just stack extra weight on the bar and try to test you and see if you can lift it. What FitFab does is every time you go to the gym, you only have one decision with each workout. Do I keep the weight at the same weight I did last time, or do I bump it by 5 pounds?
Yes. And
we bump it in 5-pound increments when our bodies are able to handle it. And sometimes we'll plateau for a few weeks at the same weight, But then magically, as our bodies strengthen and we recover, the next week we go in and we're blasting 5 more pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. There's when clients ask me, when do I add weight? I do the same thing. It's 5 pounds at the most. There's a 3-part checklist: form, feeling, and time. So form is what the exercise looks like when I'm watching you do it. Objectively, it should look, and you should make it look easy. It should look easy. Like I'm watching you do it, like, wow, that guy's really mastered that exercise. So that's form. Feeling is how it feels internally to you. It should feel easy, maybe a little bit of tension, a little bit of effort, but it's fairly easy to accomplish with good form. And then time is the third one. So form, feeling, time. So for you, it sounds like it's the 2-minute mark. For me, typically I'll do 1 minute with clients. So if you're able to do form and feeling, that means that's an appropriate weight for you now. If you can't do time, then we're going to stay at that appropriate level. If you can do the time, the third one, we're going to bump it up potentially next time. On the other hand, if you can't even do the form or the feeling right, we drop you down. So there's it's very logical, and you structured it in your app. You can program an app to tell you, if you're in tune and you're asking your body the right questions, whether to go up, down, or stay the same, right, over the course of time.
Yeah. And in between each set, that we take a 2-minute period of time between each set as well to hydrate.
Awesome.
And then to do stretch based on what exercise we're doing.
Nice.
So we stretch before we start each exercise, and we stretch in between each set. And then the last bit of time in that 2 minutes is to clear our head and get ready and be focused on the present. Because
Very
like
cool.
Ted Lasso said, it's a gift. That's why they call it the present.
The present. Exactly. That's cool. So you have 2 minutes time under tension, your exercise. You have a 2-minute break in between. Generally, how long are the workouts, like the whole span of the workout?
Yeah. So we do 3 sets per exercise, and we will do 3 to 4 exercises per muscle group plus an abdominal, because we should do abdominals every day, because it's such, they call it the core for a reason. It supports everything around us. If you're doing back, you're doing chest, you're doing arms, you're going to be engaging your core.
Right. So it sounds like maybe like 45 minutes to get through the whole program, something like that. Very doable for most people.
Yeah, 35 to 45 minutes at the gym. You're in, you're out. And at the end, the app has a place to take a picture of progress. And so what I ask is, go in front of the mirror, stand there the same way you stood there the last time, take the exact same picture, and we're going to store those pictures so we can play them back for you and show you your progress visually.
That's very cool. And then, of course, you have to post the bathroom selfie on Instagram so everybody can see it.
Sadly, that happens quite a bit.
Well, Richard, I like ending my show with kind of like a big picture question. So zoom out of health and fitness and go more like life in general. You've just been hired by either a university to give the commencement address or maybe a corporation to give a keynote speech. What's your 1 to 2 minute motivational talk to help people get the most out of life?
Well, you have to be present to win. And, that's the first message is, if you're doing something that's putting your body in a position to fail you early in life, you just won't get to the gravy, because we spend our 20s working hard, our 30s capitalizing on that, and our 40s monetizing it. And so after our 40s, that's where we really need to be enjoying life. And my goal is to have folks that are 40 and over have this way to manage their body so they can be there at 80. They can celebrate their 90th birthday. Let's hope 100, 110, and 120 based on how science is going. And the idea is, you have to remove the stressors of life. If you don't remove those stressors of life, life is not as much fun, and hypertension kills. So it's be present, be aware, and have fun along the way.
That sounds great. Well, again, Richard, how do people get in touch with you? I know the book Fit for Any Battle, the app FitFab. What's your website, social media, so people can reach out to you?
Yeah, sure, Chris. It's fitforanybattle.com. That's the website. And then on Instagram, we're Fit for Any Battle. And on Twitter, we're Fit for Any Battle.
Awesome. Very easy to find. Nice. Well, again, we're here, Health in the Real World, with Richard Bagdonas. Richard, I really, really appreciate you joining me today, and we'll be checking out your book and your app as well.
Thanks, Chris. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for